It is my pleasure today to be interviewing Dr. John Bloom, physics professor at Biola University. And John, why don't you tell us first, what was your particular specialty when you got your PhD in physics?
Well, it was biophysics was the main thing I went into. I loved astronomy, but the job market didn't seem to be all that great, so I kind of steered myself more towards biophysics.
And what was your thesis topic on?
Lipid membranes.
Lipid membranes.
How the lipids move, diffuse within the membrane.
So that explains why you and Fuzz Rana get along so well.
That's right.
Was his,
that's right. Yeah.
Thesis specialty as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's really good. Now, you're a physics professor at Biola, but you also are an apologist, and you head up an apologetics program at Biola. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. We have a program in science and religion, and that's basically focused on the interface between the two, and that's a very critical area in apologetics. So many people think that there's been a war going on for centuries between the two, and that's not really the case.
As I understand it, you purposely recruit engineers and scientists for that course.
That's right. That's
Yes.
right. Yes. Yeah.
Well, as a physics professor and as an apologist, can you just share with us ways in which physics challenges your Christian faith, but especially how it enhances your Christian faith?
Okay, and it is a sort of a twofold side to it. And just to kind of step back historically, physics is trying to look at the world for patterns and regularities. But the whole reason that we came to expect patterns and regularities in nature is because of the Bible, where God says he created and established the world to work by regular patterns. So Galileo is famous for saying, "I've discovered the language of God. It's math."
Yes.
And Kepler, "I can think God's thoughts after him," and so on. So Christianity enhanced physics by getting it started. But then when Newton developed calculus and mathematics and so on to really high levels, then people started to think, well, what do you need God for? Because math can explain everything. And there it started to become a challenge. But I think Hawking said it well. What put the fire in the equations? Why does the math work? Who established the universe so that the math could actually work? So God still needed, if you will, even though we do have a good mathematical understanding for things. But to me, where Christianity most enhances physics today is just with the discoveries of fine-tuning and just the spectacular nature of how the universe is crafted in order for us to be here. And I've seen this change in the world of physics, I'm sure you have too, where there used to be this sense of, we're just lost in the cosmos. Sagan capitalized on that with, we're just this pale blue dot and we're meaningless specks in the universe. And yet the fine-tuning, the craftsmanship in the universe is necessary for us to be here. So I teach astronomy, and I see these secular astronomy texts making this comment of it's so weird how we fit in the universe. The universe is made for us. It's the anthropic principle is what it's called.
Right.
And that's just such an incredible discovery in the past maybe 50 years or so, that we're not lost in the cosmos, we fit in the cosmos.
It's like the whole cosmos has to exist the way it is so that we can
be here.
Right.
Yeah. So that has really put the Creator back into the cosmos, if you will.
Yeah. Well, talking about fine-tuning, is there a fine-tuning feature that really excites you?
Well, it is a bit of a cumulative case, because you just keep finding this and then this and then this. The expansion rate of the universe is one thing that's fascinating in terms of the vastness of its size in order for us to be here. One that I particularly enjoy, maybe from the chemistry side, is the relative strength of the electrical forces compared to the strong force, because that establishes the biggest stable nucleus that you can have on the periodic table.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, if you change that ratio a bit, then chemistry entirely changes in the universe.
And you don't get life.
And you don't get life,
Right,
yeah.
yeah.
And then just the one that you kind of recently noticed was supermassive black holes. And the fact that we live, our local neighborhood has very passive and unusually small black holes, at least in the Milky Way. And the other ones aren't pointed our direction or are unusually quiet. So,
And yet we need them to get the heavy elements that we see.
yes,
So,
yeah. So you need them, but yet they're deadly.
Right.
So this balance in order for us to be here.
you know, and Dave Waltham, the British geophysicist, made the comment that what strikes him about the anthropic principle is its predictive power. You were just mentioning how, you know, every day that goes by, it seems like we pick up another fine-tuned characteristic. How does that impress you in terms of your Christian faith?
I think it's what one would expect,
Mm-hmm.
right? If there's a creator who wants to manifest his glory in the things that he's made, then we would expect to be finding, oh, good grief, there's more and more richness and depth to his handiwork.
So like if there is a God, this is what we'd expect.
Like,
If there is no God, we'd expect the evidence to go away. But
Right,
it doesn't seem like
right.
it's going away.
yeah, you can think of it like a trend.
Mhm.
You know, okay, we discovered this, what do you make of it?
Mm-hmm.
You discover something else, what do you make of it? But what's the trend? Well, if it keeps looking more and more and more designed, then maybe you should notice that. If it's looking just more and more chaotic, well, then maybe the secularist has a point.
And have you personally seen anybody in the physical sciences looking at this evidence, recognizing that there has to be a God and becoming a Christian?
Well, the most famous example I think of is Robert Jastrow. He didn't become a Christian as far as we know, but just, you know, in his God and the Astronomers, pointing out when the Big Bang Theory was first proposed, it was just dismissed as too theological, and yet the evidence kept mounting and mounting. And he sits back as an agnostic, just shocked. And why aren't people buying this, you know? Because, well, they have this theological bias against it.
Yeah,
So-
he himself did too. I remember a couple of his graduate students came to a class I taught, and I asked them, how come, Robert Jastrow doesn't draw the appropriate conclusions? And he says, well, we asked him that question. He says, well, I don't want to have to answer the next question that would be coming, which is, why aren't we submitting to this creator?
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's sad.
it is sad,
Yeah,
but I mean,
yeah.
I'm impressed just like you are that he saw the evidence and realized what it meant.
Yeah,
So,
and honest enough to talk
Right.
about it as well. Yeah.
is there anything else you want to share with us in terms of your perspective on physics and God?
No, I think it's just interesting to see how a discipline that many people used to say we don't need God anymore, we can understand it all as math, has kind of had a bit of a paradigm shift.
Well, I
over
find
the
it
years.
interesting that mathematicians tend to be the ones that are most likely to believe in God. And I think what strikes them is math not only works, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And how do you
yeah,
explain the beauty?
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.